and welcome to a new episode of the Yarnflakes Podcast. My name is Audrey. I am a knitwear designer from the southwest of France, and this is a podcast where I share some of my yarny creations. So, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for this new episode. I hope you're doing well. We are trying a new setup so that I can have a better light situation in the winter. You might be a bit too low. I don't know, because I think before you were too high, and I actually think that this way I'm gonna be able to show things a little bit more without having to get on top of beds and things. The downside is that I am on a rolling, twisting chair, so I might do this without noticing. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry. Go watch something more stationary. And yeah, I have a little episode for you this week. It's going to be a very neck episode, because I have only shawls and cowls to show you, because I have a new shawl stole design to share with you. I also wanted to briefly show you again the Sypha cowl, which is a mystery cowl that I organized in September. And now that the pattern is complete, I wanted to actually show you the design. And I have two new works in progress, which are also shawls. One is the design that I'm working on for a magazine, and one is the Stephen West mystery knit-along, Shawlography. So that's the plan for this episode, and I'm going to start. You can find timestamps for all the different sections of the podcast in the description down below. So if you want to skip anything or find a project in particular, feel free to look at that. I also put links to everything that I talk about, the yarn and the patterns that I'm using, as well as links to my social media and my pattern shops on Ravelry, Payhip, and Lovecraft. So I'm going to start with a new design that I just published on Ravelry/Payhip, and it is a lace stole, which is the Zelkova stole, and here it is. So this is a lace stole with a bit of a fun construction. You start with the center panel. And basically you start by casting on stitches here at the bottom. The pattern gives you tips in case you would like to change the length of the stole. If you want to make it narrower or wider, the pattern will give you, will tell you how to do it and give you all measurements so that you can figure out what you want. And basically this is shaped like a trapezoid. I don't know how to pronounce the word. I'm sorry. But basically, you decrease on either side. Here and here. And you work upwards, decreasing at the sides in this really lovely lace motif, which is a Japanese lace featuring like a leaf motif with smoked stitches as well. I really like it. I find it really delicate and it's really fun. Then, once you reach the top, you do an I-cord bind off. Here, you start here, you do the I-cord bind off. Well, you start the other way because you're facing the other way, but just for show purposes. Once you reach the end of your stitches and all have been bound off, you pick up stitches here on the line that you were decreasing on, and you start knitting the other way. So you continue the I-cord on one side and you decrease on the other side, which will be the bottom of the stole, and you knit in this other lace, which is a diamond stockinette lace, which is much more simpler, and you decrease until you make a point. And once you've done that, you pick up stitches on the other side and you repeat it the other side. Again with the I-cord here, decreasing here, all the way until the point. And yeah, so, and if you want at the end, you can add a fringe. I kind of wanted like a bohemian type of look with long, fine fringes. I thought it fitted this pretty well. But yes, it uses 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. I have used John Arborn knit by numbers. So in one of the grays, if you don't know knit by numbers, basically it's a non-superwash merino, and what they do is that they pick a color like blue, purple, red, ochre, whatever, and they provide it into like a dozen different saturation points, like from the darkest to the lightest version of that shade. And so it's very nice because you have a massive range, and I really like that yarn. It's really soft. 2, I think it's very versatile. I use that word all the time, and now I forget how. I think it's versatile. I'm not sure. I think it has a great definition, like the way some fuzzy non-superwash yarn show lace. I think it's really, really nice. And it also looks good in color work. So yeah, I really like how it looks. And yes, so this is the stole. Difficulty wise, it's let's play a game. Because, okay, as of now, I did post on Instagram a picture teasing the design. So let's see how long it takes before someone asks me if it's beginner friendly or if it's difficult. I cannot answer that question. It's, oh my god, I get triggered so easily with that question. I don't know. So I'm going to try to describe the level of attention it might require. In all the patterns you have on the pattern description, so it's publicly visible, you have a list of all the techniques that are used, so everything that is required in terms of type of stitches, like picking up stitches, I-cord stitches, twisted stitches, anything, like smoking, anything, is listed. So you can have a look at that and see if that is something that you can already do, or that you are willing to learn. But in terms of like the level of attention it requires, so basically you have, it's charted instructions only, and you have charts for everything. Like the whole shawl is charted, and it's divided into different sections. Basically every time you see a leaf, it's one different chart, and then the sides are charted as well. And and even within the leaf motif, you can see that you can stop here, so it's easy to stop. I don't know that it's a lace that you can memorize because it's quite big, and you do it on both right side and wrong sides. However, it's just one chart. So if you've seen in the latest episode, I was presenting a sweater, the Fedra sweater, which has 2 different motifs that you need to do at the same time. So you need to think of doing both. This is like the opposite, in the sense that maybe the actual motif is a little bit more engaging, but it's just one. So you need to see how what level of attention you need to do this. And this is very personal because I knitted this on holiday. So I was looking at the chart on my phone, on a tiny screen of my phone, and as you know, like the phone keeps turning itself off the screen, normal, and so I didn't have the chart all the time, and so I was knitting this like this while trying to follow conversations in a language that I don't speak that well, and it worked. And other testers also had no difficulty whatsoever, while some others needed to take a little bit more of their brain space to follow the chart. So it's very personal, but yeah, you do need to follow the chart. The manipulation themselves are not complicated. The one thing that maybe you are not so familiar with might be the smokes. This is when you wrap yarn around stitches, and I put a video tutorial in the pattern showing you 2 ways to do it. Either you do it with a cable needle, so you put the stitches on the cable needle and then you wrap that around, or you can do it slipping stitches if you don't want to use a cable needle, like I do. So there's a video tutorial for that. Yeah, then it's simple eyelets, decreases. There's a centered decrease at the top of the leaf. But yeah, it's just about your attention that is available and how you're able to follow it. I always find it's a bit difficult to say if something requires a lot of attention or not, because it's just so personal. It's just, I don't think you can say that anything requires you to really stare at the chart and not leave your eyes out of it. Because like for me, that has never been the case. And I'm not in the best position to tell you if it's difficult or not, because I made that chart and I spent weeks doing it and redoing it and refiddling with it. So it's yeah. There's no simple answer as to is it difficult or not. And sometimes I just want to answer like no, period. And like, okay. But yeah, so look at the techniques used, look at what I'm saying now, and try and figure out if that's something that you have time for. But yeah, if you are looking for something that's fun to do and that is like a little bit engaging, I hope you like it. Oh, someone asked me to show them the wrong side, because yeah, I never think of showing it. So for the diamond lace, it's just the same in reverse stockinette, so pretty basic. And for the center panel, well, here it is. It's very flat. I find it funny how sometimes lace with a lot of twisted ribbing, it doesn't look great because it looks like spread out, but here you can still sort of see the motifs. So it's interesting. And yeah, so it's quite long, and the way you can wear it around your neck is like so, and like you could knot the 2 long ends if you want, and just have the main center panel show at the front here. So yes, this is Zelkova, and it's now available on Ravelry and Payhip. And if you like it, there is a little discount on Ravelry for the release, which is 15% off with the code Zelkova, and all the details are written in the description down below as usual. So yay! I'm going to keep it over my shoulder because I'm cold. So yeah, that is it for the pattern release I wanted to share with you. Next thing I want to show you is the Sypha cowl. So in September, I organized a mystery knit along for the second time about a colorwork cowl. And now the mystery knit along is finished and the pattern has been released as a normal, regular, complete design. So I wanted to present it to you finally, because I never got the chance to. And so there it is. This is Sypha. And so it's a tube cowl, which means it's knitted in the round, so it's double here. You basically provisionally cast on stitches, you knit in the round and colorwork, and it's a long cowl that you can wrap twice around your neck. And so yeah, so this is a colorwork cowl, as you can see, featuring ornamental motifs. And the theme for the knit along, because there was a theme, It's not necessarily going to be always the case, but there was a theme here, was the elements. I wanted to have colorwork drawings that would represent the elements, and so that's what we have, and I wanted to run you through them just so that you can see them with a little bit more detail. So the first one was fire, and this is it. So I made those motifs by basically I have some like pixel art drawings and arts and things, and also using some Stitch dictionaries with feral or Nordic style motifs, traditional motifs. And so basically I would take, when I would find something that I thought I could potentially elaborate on, I would take it and I would cut it and fiddle with it and like duplicate it and play around with it a little bit until I found something that represented the element. And so for fire, so I went bottom to top in terms of orders of the element. And for fire, what I wanted to do was have something that's kind of like hard and geometric, sort of like melted, like rocks. And these little things here, which can represent embers, these swirls here being smoke, and these big things. So normally it's like so. Like this is one, and it has some sort of legs and a head, and so it's like a bird, I suppose. I found it in one of the Stitch dictionaries. I think it's supposed to represent some sort of bird. I think it was a motif from the Fairy Island, I'm not sure. And so I cut the bird's head, sorry, and I made it like so because I wanted to have like the sort of duplicity of it being flames and at the same time the tail of a phoenix or something. And so that's what I ended up with. And so that was fire. Then between each motif, so the goal was to make it look sort of like medieval illumination, right? So each motif is in a square, like a frame, and in between you have this simple geometric transition that you can do in a different contrast color, like I did here. So next was earth. And earth, I needed to have some sort of ambivalent thing, because I wanted it to be like spurt of growth, like young leaves and things, and at the same time have the structure of minerals and like the earth, etc. And so what I did is that you have this sort of branches going around, and then you have these leaves that are like little sprouting things that are enclosed in a diamond structure for like the mineral aspect of it. So yeah, that was earth. Then water, which was the most straightforward, basic one, probably. I had a giggle when I was recording the French episode, which I do before. Like in English, you get the more concise Audrey, because I already know what I'm supposed to say, because I already went through the rambling in the French episode and searching my word and etc. So in the English episode, you get the better Audrey. And in French, we have a saying, when something is very common, is very like banal, I think you say that in English as well, is very I don't think you say that in English. It's very basic, basically. Yeah, you say something is boat, like a boat. I don't know where that expression comes from. I should look it up. It's probably interesting. So I did say in French without meaning it. Like I didn't do it on purpose, but I did say that the water element was boat. Anyway, little waves everywhere, and I wanted some droplets here and there that would slowly evaporate. And then of course you have those swirls that can represent leaves, white leaves, waves, or the foam, etc. Now, Air was my favorite drawing. I really like this one. So many things. You have leaves. Why do I keep saying leaves? Feathers. You have feathers here at the four corners. I added some, like, the dotted elements here and here. I kind of like the droplets from water that are evaporating. See, that's what I tried to do. Sounds so artsy. And then these symbols, which normally that's this one that is repeated, that I found in like a really wide. I think it's one of Alice Starmore Stitch Dictionaries. I'm not sure though. Maybe I'm wrong. And I really liked it, and I thought it looked like a crown of a fan, basically. And I really like it. And I think this would look really cool in a yoke. And so, at some point, I'm gonna try to fiddle with it and see if I can incorporate this. Maybe the whole one as well. I'm not sure, but like, as part of a yoke, I need to see how I can make it so that it spikes like this in a yoke. But I really like, this is my favorite of the motifs. And then the last one was space. So a little bit of a creative freedom here with the elements. I wanted to do space, but it's not an element. I know. Let's not talk about that movie. And it was very difficult. It was the most difficult one because, like, what do I do? Like, space is emptiness. Do I do something empty as a joke and just have a plain stockinette thing? I could have done that. Yeah, then the thing is, if I actually wanted to represent some celestial objects, it was difficult to make them ornamental enough and make them in the same style of the rest. So that's why it probably looks like the most out of place. But I'm okay with what I achieved. So that's space. And so it's sort of the solar system. Here you can have the rays of the sun here, and then you have Mercury, Venus, Earth with the moon faces on top of Earth, and Mars is here. I didn't have space to do all of them, even though Neptune is my favorite, so I'm very sad about this. But then I added some moons here, some stars everywhere, and this spiraling motif, which is a general symbol to represent a galaxy, I suppose. And yeah, so that's space. And that's it. And it's a really nerve-wracking thing to do a mystery knit-along, because I was very happy with each motif. Like, it took me a very long time. And basically, like I said, I was fiddling with the motif and kind of letting the creative process do its thing. And whenever it's that, like, it's a lot of creative work, at some point I don't know if it looks good or if it's awful or if it's weird. And so I was knitting my sample and I still was thinking it's gonna look weird and it's not gonna blend, and then it's only when I blocked it and I laid it to dry in the spare bedroom, and then my mom came around and she came over and she looked and she saw it and she remarked it and she said, like, look, what is this? It looks great. And it's only then I said, then I decided, okay, I'm gonna have a look at it with a fresh mind and see. And it's only then that I noticed that it looked okay. It looked, I liked it. I like how it all looks together. And yeah, so after I'm happy with it, I still need to see if people are not disappointed, because the point of the mystery knit-along is that you don't know. And I'm always afraid that I didn't describe things properly, that I didn't, that maybe some people are gonna be disappointed. So it's always a little bit stressful, but it is so much fun once people start knitting it, and to see everyone's color choices is really, really fun and really great. And so, yeah, now that it's done, you can see it completely, and it is available on Ravelry and Payhip. Let me wear it. So it's wider than the one from last year, which means that if you're wearing it under a coat, like, you can have it just cross over like this, and it showcases you can choose like which symbol you want to show, and it shows them fairly well. And you can also wrap it twice around your neck, and that way you have just one of them that is showing quite nicely, like so. And yeah, so now, if you're not into mystery knit-alongs, it's available normally. And yeah, I will keep doing those mystery knit-alongs because I really like the process, even though it's kind of like the payoff thing of something that's quite stressful. And yeah, I already have ideas. I have 3 ideas. And I think I know which one I will do for next year. I put a clue in one of the Instagram posts that I did about Sypha. It's a not subtle clue at all. It's very easy to guess. But yes, I think the one for last year will be, if I already started doing a little bit of it, doing a frames. And I think it will be more beginner friendly. And I think that's, I kind of want to do that because I want to do this specific idea, and it lends itself to being smaller, repetitive motifs, which I think is cool because I know color work can be daunting, and like, I had people who did the mystery knit-along from last year, also did colorwork sweaters, ask me if I thought that they were good enough in colorwork to knit this. And so I'm like, I don't know why. I think colorwork is one of those things that people could knit colorwork their whole life and still think that they're not skilled enough to do a certain project. But so I know it can be daunting. So I think it could be interesting to have one of the mystery knit-alongs to be specifically easy, with like no floats to catch or things like this. I don't know yet because I just started, but that's what I will try to do, and we'll see if I succeed. I think it can work. We'll see. Yeah, so that's it for Sypha, and yeah, now I can move on to my works in progress. And the first one I'm going to show you quite quickly because it's one that I'm knitting for Making Stories magazine. It's for their issue 9, which is, no, not 9, 8, which is going to be published in autumn 2022. So it's a long while. But I just wanted to quickly show you too because that's what I'm working on at the moment. And the theme of the issue will be campfire. And I submitted one of those messy, textured, colored shawl ideas that I like to do. And this is it. So basically you have these 4 motifs. This one, which is like a knit purl squares with a twisted stitch line. This 2 color dotted like seed stitch slip stitch thing. The twisted ribbon bubbles, because in case you hate bubbles, just wanted to. And then a slip stitch garter, sort of mosaic like motif. And then I'm just repeating them again. So it's going to be an asymmetrical shawl, like so. And it's probably going to be called Lueur, which means like a small faint light, because I want it to be hard to pronounce for people. But yes, I am using Boucle Laine, which is a French yarn company, which make small production, non-superwash, really, really nice yarns, and this is their Merino Angora yarn, so 90% Merino, 10% Angora yarn, and it's a thick, plump fingering weight, and I really like how it's working. I usually don't like Angora. Like, there's only 10% here, so it's okay. But when there's too much Angora, I think because it's too warm for where I live, and so I find it really uncomfortable, and it's too soft. And I feel like I have an animal around me, you know? Like I have big cats, big fluffy cats. And they're cats that we found in the streets as kittens. So we don't know, but like one of them in particular is probably from a specific breed because he looks exactly like that breed that we think he is. And he's very fluffy. He looks like he's putting on like 20 kilos from summer to winter because of all the hair he has in winter. And he's so ugly in the summer, but in winter he's like a ball of fluff. And it's so super soft. And you know how cats, when you're too hot, they come here and they like... and it's very soft, but it's like... I don't know. So yarn and knitwear with a lot of Angora in it, it just makes me feel like I have a warm, living animal around me, and it just icks me. I love my cats, don't worry. It's just, I don't want to wear them. And I get that that's what some people like. I'm not like, it sounds like I'm talking about fur. No. No to that, but yeah, the Angora is, I don't know, it's really the softness that makes me like... However, in a very small percentage like here, I think it's what gives the yarn a very peculiar feeling, because it's very different from all the other non-superwash merino that I can think of. It has that dryness at first, but it's not prickly. It's not prickly at all. But it has that instant dryness. But then it's like you melt into it, because it's not at all like Ulysses from the Rerum Natura or any other non-superwash merino. It's a little bit more. It's rather close to this one, but a little bit more plump, so to say. And it's really interesting, and it shows texture really well. I know it's great in color work also. But yeah, this is my current design work in progress. Now, I must say something that's not so nice. I have been knitting a colorwork blanket for about a year now. And in the last episode, I mentioned that I would be able to show it to you finished in this episode. No, because it's not dry. It is finished. I finished it. I published a week or so ago when you're watching this, a little vlog. I try to do one every month. Those are vlogs where I'm not speaking. It's just like some sort of relaxing things with knitting and flowers and things, and with a little bit of a music. And it's like, I don't know, I like making those little short videos. And you can see in this video the blanket because I finished it and I show it to you. So there's proof. I did finish it. It's just that it's very big. I had to wash it in my bathtub, and it's still wet. I put it to dry like 3 days ago and it's still wet. So I didn't want to take it because it would still drag down probably because of all the weight, and it would be not nice. So I'm sorry, but I will show you the blanket in the next episode, which will be next week. So that's convenient, right? Because when you're watching this the week after, there will be another episode, and now I will show you the blanket at that time. So for now, no blanket. I'm sorry. However, I do have a new work in progress, a new personal work in progress, and that is the mystery knit-along from Stephen West, the Shawlography shawl. I'm not going to spoil you anything because when you're seeing this, I think clue 3 is already out, and I haven't even finished clue 1. So yes, I decided to cast this on a bit on a whim. I have never knitted a pattern from Stephen West. I know. Because I always like how fun and creative his designs look, but there were never something that I wanted to knit or wear. And it's not a color issue, because I've seen lots of really beautiful versions of his patterns in a variety of different colors. I know some people feel that way because of the crazy fun neon colors he uses, but you should always look at the projects, because there's always someone who's going to make it in neutrals, someone is going to make it into muted autumnal tones, someone is going to make it like in something a little bit more simple, like variety of things. And so that's not my problem. It's more about like the overall look of the textures, because okay, so I don't know if that's interesting, but my point of view from someone of the exterior who have never knitted a Stephen West shawl or project, what I think it is simple things, really not complicated, not really engaging textures, with intriguing construction, which makes it super creative, and a way of displaying colors. So he often mixes colors, but he doesn't mix them in a way that I usually tend to like, because the way I like when colors are mixed is in a little bit more of a messy, blurry type of way. But what he usually does, and I think it's very visible in the mystery shawl from last year, I forgot the name. It's like, I think it has a honeycomb like slip stitch pattern that is very common, like I see everywhere. But the thing that it does is that it's like a block of color with color around it, and so it's like a great way to show different yarns and different colors and play with that. And that's not something that I'm attracted to, especially. So that's why I usually think that his designs look really fun and great and appreciate them, but it's not necessarily something that I would knit. But I still wanted to try one. So every time I look and every time I try to make that little discussion in my mind, like, okay, I can see what this is. It looks fun, but is it something that I want to have fun with myself, with my own taste? And I started seeing the first clue of this year's Mystery Knit Along Shawlography, and I really liked it. And so I thought, okay, well, let's just do it. This looks like it can be the one. It's a bit risky because it's a Mystery Knit Along. But from the first clue, I was like, I like that first clue. So at the very least, I will want the first clue. So I picked up from my stash and I managed to find a yarn, a color combination that I'm happy with. So you need 5 colors. And so what I did is that almost all of my colors, basically these 4 colors, there were yarns that I had 3 skeins of in each color because I planned to make like a full sweater, but had them in my stash for a while. And over time, I just feel like I actually just want to make either something smaller like a shawl or even a sleeveless sweater, or to mix those colors with other colors rather than having something plain. So I took 1 skein out of those sweater quantities because I wasn't going to use them completely. So this is Walcott Yarns, Opus Yarns, Walcott Yarns Opus. One way or the other. This is a Massimo or BFL, I forgot. I'm so terrible. Alpaca blend. This is a really beautiful yarn. This is a sportwear yarn, so it's a little bit thicker than the rest. But it's okay because I have a lot of it in case I use too much of it. In the goldenrod colorway, and it's really beautiful. And this is merino yak and silk base in a colorway that's called Lucifer from the Woolly Skein, which is a French indie dyer. I love that color. It's a little bit more green than what it looks on the screen right now. I absolutely love that color, and I got 3 skeins of it because I intended to make a sweater with it. But I think I love that color so much, it's sort of preventing me from finding the right thing to do with it. I don't know if that makes sense. I can't find what I would like to do with it. At first I thought I would do something textured, but it's difficult to showcase textures in a dark color because it's much darker in real life than what you see here, and I didn't want to fuss with that in the pattern photography. And then I got some skeins of a light blue with speckles that I think would look good as a contrast because I thought I could make a color work, but then I thought it's a shame because I love that color so much. I decided, screw that. I'm just gonna take that skein because I don't know what to do with this color, and if I figure it out, I think it would look better as a shawl. So this is the merino yak silk base in fingering way, and I find I don't really like it for sweater. The decay way version of this I do, but in fingering way I think it's too fine and too slippery, and I don't know what to do with it in terms of sweater, unless you make something really boxy or like a very light drapey cardigan. And maybe yes, but I think it will look better as a shawl anyway. I have another skein which is in the same base, but this is from Arcoiris Yarns, which is another French indie dyer. This is her Antoinette colorway, which is this like purpley violet color. So that's that. Then I have this color, which is auburn in a merino camel nylon or silk blend from Featherfin Yarns, which is a German indie dyer. We're a European, it's my European shawl, okay? It's French, German, British yarns, Danish, because I have knitting for olive merino with a Dutch designer, so you know, European, except like I think Walcott yarns are British, so. Yeah, so that's my color combination, and with the white, natural white yarn from Knitting for Olive that I have a few balls of that because I intend to do some stuff, but I can spare a few. At first I had these, and instead of the gold one, I had a black color, and I thought it looked good, but I was afraid it would be a bit too much to have like a white and a black pure color. But so that's why I added the gold one, even though it's a sportwear, but it blends pretty well. It's fine, and I really like my color combination. I really do. Stephen West really helps you choosing colors. He says that the main color, like your color A, should be your favorite color, so I picked that, and that the color B should be either the lightest or the darkest, so I picked that, and that the rest of them, it doesn't matter what you do. So there's my color order, and I started knitting it. And so again, I'm not spoiling you because I haven't even finished clue 1. So we started on the wrong foot because I had the impression it would be a little bit more engaging than it really was. Like I took an afternoon off and I set myself to knit it with just some music, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna enjoy the pattern and focus on that and do this. And it really didn't get my intention at all because it's very simple, and I just got the wrong mindset at first. It's just short rows, which it fits my impressions. It's very simple, basic things that are not engaging enough, but they're put in a way that is super clever and super creative. So you cast on with an eye cord here, you do the eyelets, and then basically you go sideways and you knit like a border this way, and you do it in textured stripes, and you do short rows so that it makes those angle, which I'm like, how do you think of that? And so I started doing it and I was like, I'm a bit bored because it's just stocking knit basically with with short rows, but that wasn't grabbing my entire attention. So I just got the wrong idea. And so then once I realized that it was actually more of a relaxing, mindless thing, it was much better because I did it. I knitted this watching the season 5 of The Expanse because I was a bit late. We didn't watch this one yet. I really like The Expanse. And so this was great. Once I did that, it was perfect because I was knitting on this, watching season 5 of The Expanse, which was very intense. If you've seen it, I was like in the episodes where with Naomi, I was like staring at my screen, looking at the show and not looking at all into what I was knitting, and I was like, no, really stressed out knitting. But it worked really well because this is completely mindless and super easy so far. And I was really surprised. No, I knew that he was making step-by-step videos of the process, and I think this is this is great. This is not feasible work-wise, too much work, but he does it, and so it's like really beginner friendly. It's like I wasn't expecting that much hand holding, and I think it's cool because if you're a beginner knitter but you have like some basics, you would think that you wouldn't be able to do such a thing, but actually you absolutely can. The pattern is super easy. Like I said, there's a video showing you everything that he does is shown on the video. And I mean, when he's like knit to the end of the round, he's gonna skip, but it's still going to show you every motion. And even the short rows, he doesn't say just do like a double stitch. He says like you slip it and you pull it like this. It's like, it's very basic and explained very thoroughly. So that's great. That's fantastic. And yeah, it's so far so good. Now that I know that it will not require it will not occupy my brain. Now that I know that, I can just enjoy it while occupying my brain elsewhere. And yeah, the second thing that I'm doing right now, I think it's going to be slipped stitches with these. I'm almost done with Clue 1 actually. I think I have like 25-ish rows of this. And then there's weird I-cord loops. And then that's it. I've seen Clue 2 already, yes, as well. I'm not following the mystery like I'm doing it in my own times. And I actually like watching, like seeing the clues as they come out, because that way I can sort of try to anticipate if it's going to be a TV knit or a reading knit or a something that will actually engage me a little bit more. But I really like it, so it's gonna block out and be like this, basically. Yeah, so that is the personal project I have been working on so far. So yes, I think I've said everything. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Like I said, I will see you quite soon. I will see you a week after you see this. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I wish you a very happy end of the day or a very happy evening. And I will see you next time. Bye!